When I think back to that summer, I'm still amazed by how quickly life can shift in directions we never expect. For nearly 40 years, my world had followed a calm, familiar rhythm: marriage, home, and family. My husband was a quiet man, the kind whose love showed not in grand gestures, but in the small, steady ways he cared for us. That season, he left for his annual fishing trip up north with his old friends, a tradition he cherished deeply. For me, it was supposed to be a simple, peaceful week: watering the garden, visiting the library, maybe baking a pie or two. Nothing out of the ordinary. But life has a way of changing its course without asking first. Just a few days before he left, the phone rang. It was my daughter, her voice soft and tired. She asked if I could watch her son for a few days. Work had consumed her, and her husband had been called away unexpectedly. I didn't need to think twice. I knew how much she juggled, and I adored that little boy. At 8 years old, he was a burst of energy and curiosity, a storm of questions and laughter. Even though the timing wasn't perfect, I agreed instantly. The next morning, he arrived with his small suitcase trailing behind him, grinning from ear to ear before he even reached the porch. The moment he ran into my arms, the house seemed to wake from a long sleep. He talked endlessly about swimming, movies, ice cream, and the toy shop downtown. His joy filled every corner of the house like sunlight spilling through open windows. For the first time in ages, the rooms felt alive again. But on the second day, everything changed. Disaster struck when a pipe burst beneath the kitchen sink, sending water gushing across the floor faster than I could react. By the time I managed to shut off the valve, the cabinets were ruined, the rugs drenched, and a damp, sour smell had already started to settle in the air. The plumber said he wouldn't be able to come for several days, and I stood there in that soggy kitchen, staring at the mess, wondering what else the week might bring. His small hand tightened around mine, and in that instant, I knew we couldn't stay there, not with the house in that state. "What are we going to do?" he asked, his wide eyes shining with both worry and hope, as if part of him wished I might say something magical. I looked at him and managed a smile. "We're going on a little vacation," I told him. A hotel wasn't what he had expected, but when I mentioned a pool and breakfast buffets with waffles, his mouth dropped open in pure delight. Within the hour, I had packed a bag, gathered some snacks, and booked a modest place in the next town. It wasn't fancy, but it had everything we needed. And to a child, it was a world of adventure waiting to unfold. As soon as we checked in, he bounced onto the bed, laughing and declaring it the softest in the world. I couldn't help but laugh with him, my sides aching as the stress of the flooded kitchen melted away. Maybe this wasn't a setback after all. Maybe it was life's strange way of giving us a pause, a small, unexpected gift to breathe again. I didn't yet realize how deeply this detour would change me. That evening, after a simple dinner, we wandered through the quiet hotel halls. He tugged at my hand, leading me toward the pool, though we didn't have swimsuits yet. We promised to return the next day. Instead, we found a cozy spot near the lobby fireplace. Even in the warmth of summer, the gentle crackle of the fire felt comforting. We played checkers until his little head rested against my shoulder, his breathing soft and even. In that quiet moment, I felt something I hadn't touched in years. A stillness, a presence, a peace that slips away when life turns into a series of tasks and routines. The next morning, change stirred again. At breakfast, our plates were full, waffles for him, eggs and toast for me. We sat by the window, sunlight spilling across the table. A man at the next table leaned over with a kind smile. He was older, composed, with a voice that carried warmth. He teased my grandson about his appetite, and soon the two were chatting away, about dinosaurs, school, and silly stories that sent orange juice nearly spilling from laughter. I watched them, my heart full as I saw my grandson glow in that easy kindness. But beneath that warmth, something unexpected stirred inside me. A feeling I hadn't recognized in years, something that had long been silent. That hotel stay wasn't just about waffles and swimming pools. It was the beginning of rediscovering pieces of myself I hadn't realized were still waiting to be found.